Can we all just stop being so pleasant about this? This is a serious matter. I don't think you understand. People are going home and streaming Dune on their phones. They're not in theaters anymore. What is this? What type of world are we living in right now? Where you can't go to theaters even though they're opening again. People don't want to go out anymore. It's not just enough that they had television at home and YouTube videos and streaming. Now they want to watch all their fucking movies on their screens at home. Has everyone lost their... Easy. Breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out. I'm a theater purist. Just go to the movies and... Oh, the issue is about climate change and global warming, and it's a message about society. Oh, I thought we were talking about, like, going to the theater. Oh. You know, this is way worse.
Do you know how many the world is ending meetings we've had over the last 2 years?
Drought, famine.
Hole in the ozone is so boring.
It didn't work out. Today we have Don't Look Up. So I wasn't gonna review this until I got requested, so here I am. I don't normally, I don't go all in on reviewing Netflix content that much anymore these days. Maybe 2022 I'll change that. There's just so much on Netflix. Just the idea itself is just overwhelming and staggering. It's hard enough keeping up with the theatrical releases that are coming out. As it is, December's been a packed schedule. I'm seeing a movie after this tonight. But I got a request. I saw Don't Look Up on Christmas Day with mi familia, or what's left of it. And yeah, when asked my opinion, who am I but a cis straight white male to gladly give it to you? So yeah, Don't Look Up is making headlines because it's controversial and because, believe it or not, comedy is a subjective concept, and some people find the movie funny and some people do not. Crazy how that works. But here we are. I saw the first trailer for it, and without knowing it was Netflix, I just saw Leonardo DiCaprio having a panic attack in a bathroom, and I was like, okay, well, Leo's in it, so I'm already kind of game. And then they showed that after her big hiatus, Jennifer Lawrence was returning as well, and apparently it's by a director that's fairly well known for his films, because the director's name was also part of the marketing, so I was like, okay, straight to Netflix. It's a streaming movie. Netflix's content can be hit or miss, but the good ones that do hit pretty well. Let's give it a shot. So Don't Look Up came out this year, 2021. Don't Look Up, the long and the short of it is that a couple of just random scientists, astronomers, call them what you want, they see this very, very large asteroid headed toward our planet that would be an extinction level event. And they go talk to the President of the United States, of all people. Of course, the comedy ensues because it's like, hey, here's an issue. And they're like, well, what about approval ratings? How will the public think about it? How can we market this? It's like, well, is it really a serious threat? It's just like, it's absurdism, and that's why it's supposed to be funny. And I'll get into that in a minute. Don't Look Up is directed by Adam McKay. If you don't know that name, I don't blame you, because I wasn't familiar with the name myself until I looked him up. Turns out Adam McKay has done a lot of big well-known movies. He's done movies that definitely have a political satire side to them. He did Vice, and he also did The Big Short. So again, movies that have a lot of commentary about politics and economics and are also marketed as comedies that are also surprisingly insightful. Also worth mentioning, he did The Other Guys, which is one of the most hilarious parodies of a buddy cop movie that exists out there, so I consider that movie a win. But this guy has it's just the tip of the iceberg. The guy who did this has a very large filmography, and so this is his newest endeavor. And boy, is it a controversial one. The two main people you're coming here to see, without a doubt, are Leonardo DiCaprio, who, I mean, come on, household name, and Jennifer Lawrence. I would say Jennifer Lawrence is definitely a household name at this point. If you don't know who either of these two people are, you either don't watch a lot of stuff, or you just don't care too much to know. But a Google search will tell you. There's a lot more, people in this movie. This cast is absolutely stacked with the who's who of AAA Hollywood's finest. Whether they're utilized appropriately or for a lot of screen time, that's up for debate, but they're all here. My immediate reaction to this movie after I saw it was here's the thing. This movie is getting a lot of press right now because it's talking about controversial issues that basically are a critique of primarily our American society, but like politics, climate change, human beings in general, how society handles the real world threats versus the ones that we kind of manufacture on our own. And for the movie to do that in itself, that's admirable. Granted, it's not the first movie that's tread water in this area. We've had plenty of movies, both preachy and not, that have tried to get a message across. Given the circumstances today, I think it was like scarily accurate to how our society would handle a situation like this. It's well acted. I mean, like, I think so. Granted, for what some of these actors are trying to do, which is kind of like, I don't want to say caricatures, but everybody's playing a character, whether they're annoyed, blissfully ignorant, stupid, smart, scheming, worried, concerned. Like, I mean, like, I'm hard pressed to think of a single film that exists where Leonardo or old Leo over here isn't a good actor, doesn't give a good performance. Everybody delivers on what their character is supposed to deliver. So regardless of what my political views are, which I'm not going to get into politics and leanings and all that, I'm on the side of just humanity furthering itself, helping others, and I mean, facts and science, it's where I lean in without going too far in one direction or the other. I think the film is well-intentioned and there's a good message that they're trying to put through. The message being that you need to pay attention to the real-world threats that are out there, be thankful for what we have, and also take the right shit seriously. Key emphasis on taking the right shit seriously. That's it. That's all there is to it. There were moments in this movie where I did laugh out loud. The comedy, for a lot of people, is very hit or miss. Big complaints about this film have been people basically saying it's not funny, the humor feels forced. I do agree. There are a lot of scenes and moments in this film that drag on a little bit, and that I do feel like the comedy, I get what the joke is, I get what the humor they're going for is, but it does feel a little bit forced, really kind of forced in some areas. So the comedy doesn't 100% work all the way through it. But I would be lying if I said I didn't laugh out loud at least a few times during the film. I think it's kind of a scary, but a unfortunately accurate take on society and how we do handle all this shit. It's like, the movie gets very on the nose here and there, but it's funny because even the moments that are on the nose, you're like, oh no, that's really what we would do. Like, the human race in itself is such a mixed bag. There's a lot of good people out there, but there's a lot of bad people out there as well, and sometimes there's just a lot of stupid people out there, and people that are just trying to take advantage of other people for their own self-interest and gain, and just, I'm not going to get into a whole like, oh, Marxist theory, or oh, capitalism, or oh, the dangers of communism. Like, I'm not going to get into all that type of stuff. I'm just saying, this film paints a picture of, in my opinion, paints a picture of an America that I think is unfortunately spot on. Argue down in the comments if you want. I go for it. I think this movie is just, like, good. It's good. I wouldn't go as far. I wouldn't go low enough where it's like, oh, it's okay. I thought it was good. I did not think it was really good. Definitely not fantastic or amazing. Some people are like, oh my god, it was such a good movie. I don't have a strong desire to like go out of my way to see it again. I would watch it again, but I think Don't Look Up is about 30 to 45 minutes too long. I think there are some scenes, especially scenes that are trying to evoke comedy, or even like ethos or pathos, where it's trying to evoke emotion, and it just kind of doesn't milk the scene, but the scene just kind of carries on a little bit too long. The joke that's trying to be told is trying to be told a little bit too long. This movie just needed some fat trimmed off of it, and I think you would have still gotten the exact same message by the end of it. Like that, and a lot of complaints come about there's a major tonal shift by the end of it. Like, the film kind of goes for this certain vibe, almost like a borderline Mars Attacks vibe in a way, in that like you're like incredulous when you're watching this. You're like, here's a real world threat, and all the people that should be taking it seriously are not taking it seriously. And that's where the comedy for me would come from, is it's how unfortunately hilariously accurate these human beings are acting in the face of this imminent danger, when they're like, oh yeah, but gotta start this hashtag That's like the hashtag Don't Look Up. Like, don't worry about what they're telling you see in front of you. Worry about what we're telling you. And like I said, there's a lot of commentary to be gleaned from this. A lot of messages about America. There's a very large shift in tone. In a few different points in the film, the film kind of struggles to decide if it wants to be a straight up dark comedy, it wants to be like a drama, because like it's a mixed bag, and I wish they had picked one lane and stuck with it. And I think if they had done that and just picked one theme, one genre, one theme, one tone rather, and maybe like if the tone had just only flipped a little bit, but the tone kind of is like, we're this kind of movie, but now we're this kind of movie, but now we're this kind of movie, and then by the end you're like, oh my god, this is the ending? Jesus Christ, this is dark. And it's like, the message that they're going for is supposed to be a dark one. It's like, it's almost like a cautionary tale type of deal, but also a reflection of ourselves. But it doesn't feel as earned unless the movie had been that way the whole time. But I guess you couldn't have called it a comedy. So it's a dark comedy that turns into a drama that turns into a very, very, very dark comedy with a question mark by the end of it. I don't know, man. I think it's worth a watch. If you're a certain type of person, or in my opinion, a certain type of American, there's definitely going to be parts of this film that you're not going to be a fan of and that you're not going to agree with, hardcore not agree with, and that's fine. Opinions are opinions. I think end of the day, Don't Look Up is a movie that pretty much seems like the left are praising it and the right are kind of shitting on it, if I'm being very, very generalizing. Comedy's subjective. I think this movie's trying to be a laugh out loud comedy with biting political satire, social commentary, and to end with a warning about our future. And I think that it misses the mark overall. I think it's still good. The talent of its actors that are in it really kind of hold it together. They're the glue of the movie. There are some comedic bits that do work for me that I thought were funny, but I think the film tries too hard, too much to be funny, and in doing so trips over its own feet. And I think the tonal shifts in the movie really bring down the overall, I don't want to say vibe, but yeah, they kind of bring down the vibe of the movie. I'm not sure how to feel about the movie because the movie doesn't seem to know how it wants to feel about itself. But I think the message that's being brought across is uncanny valley levels of like, Jesus Christ, this is what our society has become. But there's still the hope. I will say, the one line that shook me was,
The thing of it is we really did have everything, didn't we?
God damn, we do. Granted, there's some of us that are more fortunate than others, but the society we live in, the access that we have, the resources, the wealth, even though it's not distributed properly, we have so much, and I think we take so much of it for granted every day. By the end of this film, you might at least go home with that one idea, that notion in your head where it's like, man, we do, regardless of what our political leanings are, regardless of if we like each other or agree with each other, we all share this world, and we have a lot. We have a lot. And why would we not want to work together to save that for the ones we care about, or ourselves, each other, and our future generations? It's just, I don't know. It's a movie that kind of makes you lose hope in humans a little bit, but also is a reminder of okay, well, I know what I could do to be better maybe. I think it's just good, and that's good is me being very, very liberal with the rating. I would give it a solid 3 out of 5, which technically 3 out of 5 is average. I think it's average, barely above average, but I'd say it's worth a watch just to be able to formulate your own opinion. But keep in mind, comedy is subjective, and it seems to be people either love this movie a lot or absolutely hate it and think that it's a stupid comedy that's overhyped. So think what you will, take away what you will. I think it was just okay. I think it was good. But let me know what you thought. Please, by all means, share your opinions below, as you did with my last Matrix Resurrections review. Please tear me to shreds in the comments. I can't wait to see what everybody says. If you have any requests for other films that aren't in theaters, films that are just on Netflix or whatever, I guess we're doing this now, submit them and I'll go over them. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching as always, and stay tuned for the next episode of whatever movie I review. And goodbye, travelers.